Brentford 3, United 1, and that was a tough one to take. Really not sure where to start with this, but Nick, oh, that was not an easy watch, was it?
One of the most painful watches I've had in many a year, and that's a sad indictment, isn't it? Given the latter games of Ten Hag, um, and some of his predecessors, we've had a bit of a mess at the end of Ollie's period. We've had some of the park the bus football with Mourinho, and well, the mess of the Moyes appointment. Um, And yes, it's not the worst today there, and it's not the worst performance as we've seen in terms of the season, but it's very, very hard to watch that today. And I think you come away feeling, as you've just said, really deflated.
It's because it's the hope, isn't it? You go into the game with hope, thinking, right, okay, positive against Chelsea last week, not just in getting a win against a big team, but the manner of it, the sort of the just the vibe that you got from the performance from the team, and then so you're thinking, right, okay, that's positive. Previous games we've started well. That's been probably the consistent theme of this season has been a strong first 10 minutes at least. It probably often to both halves. But then today there was none of that fast start, was there?
No, exactly. And was alluded to on TNT there, it started in the warm-up. I mean, we've got United practicing defensive set pieces in the warm-up 20 minutes before kickoff. We've said it time and time again about Amarim's caution and, defense first. And when you look at today's performance from a defensive point of view, it is absolutely shocking in every way, shape, and form. And that's why I've kind of pleaded for patience as well with some of these um, big reviews from United fans recently on the likes of Delit, Euro prior to that, Dorgu, and actually just pleading a bit of patience because the performances have not really been there despite the Chelsea defensive performance and the Arsenal game in between. It has shown signs. So yeah, you come into today and you think, right, let's get that back-to-back win. Let's start to make treads up, let's start to make progress up that table. And there was nothing from the first 10 minutes, as you've said, and was it about nine minutes where they score? And I think
Mhm.
that just goes to show that when we are put on the back foot and we concede early, our plan just seems to fade away. So at least in previous games, we've started on the front foot. We've played through the thirds. We'll stretch the play. We'll get Mbumo in down the channel. Sesko's getting involved in the build-up play. Um, but then when we've conceded, there's this mass panic that comes throughout the ranks. And we can talk later about whether that's the players. There's been that debate over the years, players versus coach versus boardroom. And to be honest, it is a bit of everything, but it does come down to the coach. It does come down to Amarim and in terms of keeping the formation, keeping the calmness, the sense of the sense of urgency to get the goal back, to keep your shape and to understand the principles of play. And that just wasn't evident at all. We nearly went 2-0 down just moments after the first goal. And then, of course, there was the two balls in that happened on about 17 minutes. Maguire's missed them both, which is unlike him. Bayern, to be fair to Bayern, we'll come on to him.
Yeah.
But two fantastic saves, one from point blank range, one tipping it over the bar. And then he's not done too bad at corners as well. But then 1.5 minutes after that little scenario, they score their second. So there's this panic that's set in. We've not been on the front foot. We've retreated, and then those gaps have appeared again. So, you can talk about formations 3-4-3, but at times it's just a 3-5-2, two staying high, and big gaps in between the back line and the front line, where the midfield is always bypassed. Whether that's from an out of possession point of view, or when we're on the ball as well. Fernandez wasn't getting on the ball. Ugarte, I'm sorry, but Ugarte is just not up to it. I think we've alluded to that in previous podcast YouTubes, and that was evident again today. But also the fact we're just bypassing the midfield. So it's really concerning. And when then something like that happens, when you go 1-0 down, you expect some kind of consistency of approach to get back in the game, to remain calm, to see some leadership. And from Delit through Bruno, through Mbumo, through Sesko, who you'd say is pretty much a core and a backbone to our side, every single one of them needs to look at themselves after today and how they performed and then what impact and effect that had on the wider team.
You know how we run by now. It's when we play well and get a good result, I like to look at the other side of the coin. You know, what didn't we do well? When it goes badly, I like to dwell on what we did do well. I try and bring that balance. So this will be very quick. What did we do well today?
Oh, you've thrown me on that one because I'm one of them where if the performance is so poor, it feels a bit um, it feels a bit like you're trying to find something that isn't there. So I mean, we can talk about players. Uh, Dorgu was okay, in possession. I thought he went down a couple of times too easily in the first half, looking for free kicks. That showed a bit of nervousness to me. But when he did have it and he was in space, we seemed to platform him a lot on that left side. And he does seem to get into dangerous positions. I thought he did okay. Sesko took his goal very well, kind of predicting that the goalkeeper will fumble due to Mbumo's presence, and then the rebound. I think he's put that away with his left foot really well. Generally, I thought Sesko started the game well. First 15 minutes, there was some nice
Mhm.
link play like we've come to expect from him. A nice turn on the near side, taking it through two players on the halfway line and playing it out to Mbumo, winning a couple of aerial flick-ons. So Sesko can, well, for periods, hold his head up high. And who else was there? There's not much else to talk about. If there's, we can talk about Bayern Day saves because I think for all the criticism, his shot stopping is good. I don't think
Mhm.
that's ever been in doubt. Apart from the third goal, which we'll come on to, I think his shot stopping is pretty good, generally speaking. So the 2 point blank saves, and there was another save where it could have been 3-1 at one point as well, where he's come out and saved well against Sharda. So they're probably the only players that can hold their head up high today. And I didn't think anything was good out of possession. Again, I thought it was trying to be 4-4-2 for the most part, like we saw at Chelsea. But at times, if Cunha's not pressing high, sorry, if Cunha's not coming deep, then he'll stay high. So it was like a 4-3-3, leaving big
Mhm.
space in behind for Brentford just to play out. And I think Andrews was really clever. He's gone 4-2-3-1 this time. He's experimented with five at the back in recent games. And he's understood how to beat United. We've said it time and time again. So you pin our wide centre backs. You ensure that the wing backs are blocked by playing a narrow box in midfield. So at times his 4-2-3-1 became like a 4-3-2-1. So a bit like the Christmas tree, because you had Otaro coming like in a deep position. Damsgaard would often find the right half space. That was really interesting. And again, that's probably in order to pin Dorgu. And so what you had was a congested, compact middle where they know that again the overloads in central midfield are going to cause us damage. When the wide centre backs from our side have to jump, they're not allowed to. So Brentford have control of the centre. So I thought that was really interesting from Andrews, who's, let's be honest, he's a rookie coach and
Mhm.
he's put in just some basic analysis this last couple of weeks you'd imagine on the training field, and just done the obvious as we've said time and time again on this channel, and that's paid dividends for him. So really hard to find positives today. I thought tactically we were outclassed. I thought performance wise, obviously, mentality just not there at all, which goes back to that idea of the collective and players. But then you ask, why is Bruno still in central midfield? And that's why he's having a bad game. He will have bad games. He can't bring those numbers to the table every single game. And although he was trying to get onto it, it was classic Bruno. He was pulling far too wide right most of the time. And then he's coming, into the other channel. Then he's caught too high. If you look at the second goal in particular. And it's just the same themes over and over again. So you can talk about player mentality, but you also have to ask why certain selections were made in those areas of the field.
I think it would be remiss not to touch upon the fact that obviously we had a penalty, which I have no clue why that wasn't a red card. It was a pretty clear, obvious goal scoring opportunity. It was near identical to the one which we benefited from in the semi-final first leg Europa League in Bilbao earlier this year. It seemed an open and shut case, especially when it went to VAR review, but no, okay. But I mean, even if it's 10 men and, Bruno scores the penalty and you end up winning, it masks, a couple of goals in the last 20 minutes would mask a lot of ills, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of deficiencies throughout. But you're right, it was a red card. It depends how deep you want to go into this. I can go deep into refereeing. I mean, Pawson's not had many games this season. He's come in. He has looked. I mean, when I saw the name, I'm thinking, yeah, actually, he's solid FIFA referee and someone you need with a bit of experience. But you can just tell he's not ready. So again, you can go too deep into this, and that's shown in the hesitancy on the whistle for the penalty. So there's a clear pull on Mbumo. Pawson stood still. He's effectively waved it away without giving the arm gesture because he started to move backwards. And then there's kind of something in his ear, perhaps far side assistant has helped him make that, has there been contact, has there been a pull? That's been confirmed. So he blows the whistle. So I'm already suspicious there. And I already know now at this point he's not going to show the red. I mean, that's it. So there's the psychology of refereeing. He's given the yellow. Now, in refereeing, they're taught to look at was it natural attempt for the ball? What was the contact like? Was it upper body, lower body? Well, and to be fair, they ask whether the striker has control of the ball, but we'll look at that as well. So there was no control of the ball, but the ball was inch perfect to Mbumo's strongest foot, and he's 7 or 8 yards out. There's a clear pull on the shirt, so it's upper body. There's no natural attempt to get to the ball. And so, in every way, shape, or form, this is a red card. I have no understanding why VAR has not come in. Andy Madley, when he's looked at that for a couple of minutes, which has
Yeah.
potentially put Bruno off on the penalty. No excuse, Bruno, but they've looked at that time and time again, and they've decided that a clear and obvious error wasn't made. Well, when it's law like that, when it's a case of is it dogso or not, a denial or not, there's no case to answer whether it should be whether there's an obvious error or not, and then they're trying to keep the decision, the on-field decision. It should just be a red card. So at UEFA level, if we were watching that midweek in one of the European games, it's just a clear red card.